think it's on.
We're live?
I think so. Let's see.
If so, hello.
Hi, friends.
We're here. We are live.
Yes.
Awesome. We are live.
Oh, don't want to do that.
We're learning.
Echo.
Hi, it's Erica.
And Matt.
For our first Fireside Chat. Here we are. Cheers.
Cheers. Happy Saturday to you.
Yes. What are you guys up to? We're just over here brainstorming ideas and starting new things on a Saturday. It's pretty normal.
Pretty normal life for us to dream up something new.
And to go for it.
Yeah, absolutely. So what are we doing here, for real?
We're going to talk. Just maybe we can share a little bit about Spoonful of Imagination, as we've now been around for quite a long time, but have had it's been quite a journey. And my heart for this is we just can be encouraging and maybe a little bit more open with how we view and do life.
Okay. That sounds a little like vulnerable.
Well, I mean,
I'm a little nervous
yeah,
about that.
this is a date live in front of the camera. Let's talk life.
This could go super well. We also have our dogs in the room with us, and some teens and preteens behind us. So there's really no telling what noises could break out in the midst of this. But you see the title of this is Fireside Chat / Reagan's Room. So there is a fun kind of story that we wanted to share with you. But I think, like you were saying, going back to the beginning, Spoonful of Imagination came out of a family blog that you started about the time Jeremiah was born.
Yes.
Were you pregnant with him or born?
He was born, so he just turned 14 last November. So he was a baby, and that was before blogs really were a thing. I didn't even know what a blog was. I remember I just wanted to communicate with our family because phones weren't even what they are today. You remember it was a flip phone and like the camera was the size of a quarter.
So my job had us on the road. We were traveling a lot, and we were fortunate to be able to travel as a family with another family that we were very close with and partners with in this nonprofit venture. And so part of it was you and the kids would be staying out of hotel rooms while my business partner and I would go out and do these meetings and events. And
in a new town.
A strange town, right?
Yes.
And so basically just kind of using the blog to report back to family. Well, you started to go to the craft store, get crafts, activities, things that you could do with the kids just to kind of fill the day. And then, with that, you started to also just kind of open up Google and find what are the parks, what are the local restaurants, where's the cool ice cream shop, where's the fun kids museums and things like that. And out of all of that, this little family blog started to gain some traction with people following some of the crafts and adventures that Erica was putting together. So we rebranded it into Spoonful of Imagination. And the whole idea around it was imagine the possibilities. So talk about that a little bit. What does that mean to you?
I love that phrase. I still sign my emails or newsletters with that phrase. So I feel like as we grow up, you start to kind of have expectations of what you might want to do or what might be expected of you. So we kind of get in these like single file like lines for our life. And then you might wake up and feel like, what did I do? This is not what I want to do. So imagine the possibilities to me is just kind of going off path and being like, there's other ways of doing things, thinking of things, seeing things, and imagine the possibilities is just what else could you do? What else can be done? The different ways and possibilities. It just opens up a lot more options.
And I think that, for us, it's just been a thing of looking at life with how can we add a little more creativity? How can we add a little bit more adventure? And sometimes it's super simple, and sometimes it's a little more extravagant and drawn out. And really for us, as we've connected with other families, it's just been the encouragement of just try some things. And just thinking through of, if you did one simple thing a month or a couple things a month, that adds up to a lot of fun, really cool memories for your kids, for your family throughout the course of a year. And
do you remember how you came up with the idea of Spoonful of Imagination? He actually thought of the brand's name. Do you remember that?
I'm so surprised you just shared that publicly. It might bring a tear to my eye. I didn't know that brand secret was ever going to leak out to the world.
It's official.
Well, I remember standing in our kitchen in Georgia, and I remember you loved Mary Poppins.
Yes, it was my favorite Disney movie growing up, Mary Poppins.
And so Erica has, been known to break out in Disney song every now and then. And I think you were singing Spoonful of Sugar Makes the Medicine Go Down.
Yeah.
And I just, the thought came Spoonful of Imagination.
Yeah, because in the movie, a spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down.
Yeah.
So we were thinking a spoonful of imagination adds to a more beautiful life, adds to a more creative life, way to do life. And it was just perfect. It was the first name because off of the Dual Family blog that I was like, that's it. That's one I won't get tired of.
Yes.
That makes sense. It opens up to our heart with how we want to encourage families and how we kind of a value for us in our marriage and family where we do life together.
Yeah. So today we wanted to talk about Reagan's room specifically. And so if you follow, Erica does a much better job than I do on her Instagram account. If you follow her Instagram account, you see a lot of different things that she's done with the kids, and specifically some of the things that we have worked with Reagan and allowed her to do in her room and in the house. So
Reagan's 12. So she's a tween, and finding her voice and her ideas. I mean, she's always been brave and bold and
extremely creative.
Extremely creative.
Yeah.
But it's fascinating to watch her whole process. So I've shared a little bit about it in our stories, but the latest is her room.
So to back up a little bit, so her room, when we first moved here, the boys shared a room. Reagan was in the room right next door to them. So a few years later, when the boys are kind of ready to have their own space, Reagan's happy at the idea of moving rooms, because what a cool adventure that is for her, and getting away from the boys, because we have another room, it was our guest room at the time, that's like down the hall, and so she thought, I can have my own room, this is great, I get away from the boys get their own rooms. So we made that transition. I mean, gosh, I guess it's been 4 years now, and so it's the smallest room in the house that Reagan chose. And so that was kind of the thing, like, hey, Reagan, this is smaller than the room you have. And so she was okay with it. She loved it. But with that, I would say, I feel like at least once a year, she comes wanting to do some kind of redesign.
Oh, yes. Well, and in the midst of that year, the things on her wall are constantly changing.
Yeah.
She's printing pictures.
That was a big
signs.
thing. You know what I forgot about? That was a huge thing. You had a floral thing that you had hand painted on the wall.
Oh, yeah.
And when she first moved in, you didn't want to let that go.
Yeah, that was really hard.
And she really wanted to paint over it. Mm-hmm. And so it actually took, I think, the first year for you to...
Finally.
Yeah.
It was like my mural. I was like, you want to paint over that?
I had forgotten about that.
Yeah.
So anyway, all that to say, as she's grown and as we've grown, we've let her express herself in her room. Mm-hmm. And so she came to us a little bit before Christmas and said, I want to remodel my room.
Well, first she wanted to change rooms back with the boys.
Right,
and we were like, no.
Yeah.
That ship has sailed. This is your room.
So she said, okay, then I want to redesign it. So we said, okay, you have to come up with a proposal. And, sometimes it's like we give our kids tasks thinking like the task that we give them will just keep this thing moving along and they'll just forget it. I don't want to do it. She took a legal pad and she came up with like a 10-page proposal. I mean, sketches, drawings, She went out and like mood boarded this thing, looking at things online, came up with all kinds of different ideas. The big idea at the crux of all of it was that she wanted to get rid of her closet, her bedroom closet.
There's only one closet in that room.
That holds her clothes and her stuff. And she wanted to turn it into kind of like a makeup counter, desk, nook.
Yes.
So we thought, ooh, that's a big shift. That's a big change. So we took a couple deep breaths on it and we said, all right, let us think about it. And finally we looked at it and we said, she does have the smallest room. I think we can let her do this.
Yeah. The door was already off. She had moved it to a curtain kind of look. Mm-hmm. So there was no big structural thinking through that even. To give it extra space. Like, wow, that's really creative. You can't make your room bigger, but actually she did. I was really impressed and kind of amazed at.
Yeah.
I didn't think you could make your room bigger. You just figured it out. So kind of amazed at her processing.
So our kind of concession in the whole thing is that the coat closet, which is kind of across from her bedroom, which, is kind of our junk closet, honestly. There's not a lot of really, meaningful, valuable things happening in there.
Yeah. We
said, you know what? You can move your clothes into that. The things that need to hang can move there. You can use that. And yes, we'll let you do this. So we decided to let her go for it. And I'll never forget, it was a Saturday, much like today. And I'm working on something in my room. I think you were in your craft room.
Yeah.
And I hear a drill going. And I'm listening, and I can tell it's coming from Reagan's room. And I was like, oh, Erica and Reagan must be working on the closet.
Yeah, and I was either in the craft room or the kitchen, but I thought he was in there with her. So, did I walk in there first?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I walked in there. She was in there all by herself with a drill, taking down the shelf in her closet, the shelf and that bar thing, all by herself.
She was ready.
She got the right tools. She figured it out, and she was doing it. She didn't wait on us.
No, she did not. No, I heard you from the bedroom say, did you ask your dad if you could do this? And she goes, no. You guys told me I could remodel my room, so I'm remodeling my room.
I was like,
so
wow.
Yeah, so props to her. So she did. She removed all the shelves almost completely by herself. She then, we quickly showed her how to mud holes and patch holes. She did that.
And that was her first time really to do that.
Yeah.
So she's learning new skills in the process. I'm like, these are life, valuable skills that you will continue to use as you grow. And
I don't plan on mudding another hole ever again, because now Reagan knows how to do that.
Yes, if you guys join us, please feel free. We can see comments. So
if
you have any questions or comments about this whole process, because we know this story really well, but if you have any questions about it, feel free to drop us a comment.
Yeah, so she muds the holes, she primes, and you helped her to paint the closet, but she pretty much painted the closet. We found an Oops gallon at Lowe's that was...
Oh, yeah, because for Christmas, we kind of went... Was it Christmas or her birthday? Her birthday's right after Christmas.
Christmas.
We kind of gave her a Lowe's gift card to go pick out her paint. So it was kind of part of her Christmas to kind of help her along this journey. And so we're at Lowe's. She's even pricing out the cans of paint. Am I going to need a quarter? Am I going to need a gallon? The price difference. And then we find this Oops. So I think the whole process of taking a risk here, maybe saying yes to something that's not normal, all of a sudden she's learning all kinds of incredible skills. That girl probably didn't know what a can of paint was priced at before this situation.
Yeah, no, because when she went in and she went, some of these cans of paint are $75. And we're like, you don't have to get those cans. You can probably get a smaller can. We can probably get a little bit something cheaper. It's just for a closet. But then we found the really nice can of paint in the Oops section that was, I think, $15. So lots of cool experiences. I helped her to put the shelf in. And I think that's really, truly the only part of it that we really did any sort of like heavy lifting to help her. Mm-hmm. The rest of it she did herself. But so now she has this cool, makeup counter, nook,
homework, desk.
We'll have to put some pictures up to show it. But I remember a couple years ago you let her paint her bedroom door, mm-hmm. and I remember we got a lot of comments back on that, like, oh my gosh, I could never let my kids do that. Mm-hmm. Like that seems crazy. And again, we know people lean in and look at us sometimes as being a little crazy.
We might be. I do have a sweatshirt on that says crazy.
Yeah. So we might push the limits on the creativity. But I think as we processed through that, it was just the thought of, we're not like anywhere in a place where we're going to be putting this house on the market. Mm-hmm. We love this place and this community, and outside of any unforeseen circumstances, we see ourselves here for a number of years. Mm-hmm. And I remember this is something that Erica really pushed me on, even in, some of our previous homes, of like, this is our home. We live here, so we need to do things to this place that we get to enjoy. And, again, imagine the possibilities. So we've just leaned into that with our kids, and we've let them take some risks and do some things, like painting doors and changing closets and, lofting beds and doing different things that maybe you wouldn't normally do. And the reality is, you say it all the time, paint is cheap.
Oh, it's one of the cheapest ways to change the atmosphere in a room.
So if we ever get to the place of we are moving, we need to sell the place, there's a lot of things we can do to pretty quickly and inexpensively cover it up and get it back to a maybe more normal place.
True.
That's awesome. So that's the Reagan room story. It's fun times.
Yeah, and I think our heart with maybe sharing it with all of you is just that, sometimes taking a risk and doing something different, changing things up comes at a cost. It took a little bit of time for us to, we had to figure out going to Lowe's. We had to eventually, you had to help her with that desk. We're going to be hanging a big mirror up soon. So, it does take a little bit of time. But through this, she's learning valuable things. And it's growing her in knowing that her ideas matter. Because the goal someday is for your kids to go out into the world and to have healthy confidence and to add value to the world, right? You want them happy and you want them acting out of their gifts and contributing to the world. And so to grow healthy, confident kids who know their ideas matter and they can try something new, and if it doesn't go right, it's okay. It's like that's got to start now as kids, They have to be practicing these skills. It's a life skill to try something, it not work out, and be able to adapt and keep going. So, it might not look like letting your child completely change their closet.
Yeah, remove the closet out of their bedroom. Maybe not the best thing for everybody.
It might not look like that for you, but how in your home, in your parenting, in your lives can you take a little risk, take a little chance, imagine the possibilities of something different and grow from it?
You've done an amazing job modeling that for our kids.
Thanks,
and helping
lead
the way in that. Yeah.
Cheers.
So you recently have taken some pretty big risks and made some changes. As most people know, shutting down the nonprofit retail side of Spoonful of Imagination, the art studio, so that you could be a little bit more home and present with the kids. You've also expanded some of what you're doing online, and part of that is launching this new online course, Create More Connections. So that's a big risk and a big shift and something maybe a little bit scary for you.
Yes. I thought closing a physical location, I could be a little bit more behind the scenes, just encouraging people in their creativity, but it's actually required me coming out a little bit more and showing up a little bit more. So it's been stretching, but I'm also at a place now that I feel like I can be stretched again. It's completely different than it was a year ago, and I'm very thankful that I'm at a place to learn again and can be more present with them, because maybe that's why I had more margin to process that out with her, is because my plate's a little bit less heavy.
Yeah. And I know a lot of folks have heard from you about the course. So I had the privilege of filming and editing the course.
Thank you for saying it like that.
Yeah.
He's heard these words and seen my face, really.
So yes, I serve as the executive producer at Dreamont Studios, and we make videos all day long, which is my love and my passion. So it really was. It was a privilege to jump in and work with Erica on this course. And she, for months, was working on just scripting and writing it. And so she was kind of going down these different creative paths, because a lot of people ask, what is this about? And I think the expectation is it's Erica teaching art stuff, and that's coming. You've got some great ideas.
Thank you for that. It is coming.
There's some great ideas, but this course, I would say, is so much more about her personal journey and her personal process of the last 18 months or so, and what it meant to her to get to the place with the studio where she was unhealthy, where she was carrying the weight of this organization on her shoulders. And even though there were certainly people around her helping her and encouraging her, the internal side of that began to get really heavy. And I think just coming out of COVID and all the adjustments and pivots that we had made through that season, it just kind of got to a place where you were tired and, just getting to a place of just totally zapped. And what I watched Erica do through the process of shutting things down and just working on herself and beginning to just regain, just some rest and some peace and some health. As I've said to several people who've asked, how's Erica doing? I've said, she's the healthiest I've ever seen her. And I mean that. And she's done some really incredible work to get there. So this course is really truly about that. And it's her sharing 5 simple principles and habits that she's built into her life to help build back up some of that health. And so the best way I could say is it's like, there's 13 videos total, I think, and it's about 2 hours worth of pep talks with Erica, where she shares these principles. She shares some really cool and pretty vulnerable stories about stuff that was going on with her, things that she's learned along the way. And then with that, she's built all of these just awesome downloadable, printable PDFs of activity sheets for you to do to kind of track your own stuff, but then also activities for you to do with your kids. So super proud of you. It's a great course. I love it. I learned a lot through the process of hearing it multiple times as we filmed and edited. So I would just say, go to spoonfulofimagination.com, and there is a button there for courses. Click on courses and it'll take you right to the page that explains a little bit more and gives you the opportunity to check that out. So I would encourage it. It's super, super good. So
thank you. You just did a great pitch. Thanks.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Being my biggest cheerleader.
Well, I mean, as we talk about, taking risk and imagine the possibilities, you've done that, I think, really well this year with yourself and with our family. So I appreciate it. So yeah, while I feel like it's written and targeted to, what would you say, moms who are just feeling maybe a little burned out, a little bit.
Yeah, I think, the applications are kind of written with a mom idea, because I'm thinking of someone who's me, who's the weary, burned out, juggling a lot. Are you even acting in alignment to your natural gifts anymore? I think the heart and the concepts that we talk through are applicable to any human. If you do life regularly with people, whether it's a spouse or, you have an older family member living with you, you have coworkers you show up daily interacting with, I think the applications can apply to just doing life with people. And we started with this Create More Connection course because it was where I was at. And I think for you to be at a place where you can be thinking creatively and imagining the possibilities, there has to be a certain health baseline there. Yeah. And I was below that. I was in the deficit. So I know I'm not the only one who's been there or was there or is there. And so just thinking, how can I help people get back to where they are aligned and acting out of the true parts of themselves, healthier, happier, more fulfilled, because that's the place that then you can imagine the possibilities and create a life you love.
Yeah. And I know right now in some of the participants who are going through the course, I mean, you've got everybody from some new moms, young moms, a little more experienced moms to, I even know of a mom that's an empty nester. And she told us the other day, I'm going through the course the second time because it's meant so much to me. So really cool to hear that impact. And I know it's going to mean a lot to a lot of people. So again, check it out, spoonfulofimagination.com. Look for the courses and you will see it there. And then creative courses with you coming soon.
Coming soon too.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So this was fun. I enjoyed this.
Thanks for joining me for our first Fireside Chat.
Oh, another cheers. Here we go.
Should we do this again? Let us know. We'd love to pull in our kids too, if you guys are interested.
Yeah.
They have all their own creative endeavors, and maybe show some of Reagan's room here too.
Yeah, that would be good. All right. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you guys.
See ya.
Have a great Saturday.